DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
All right.
No, I don't want to be live.
Yes,
I don't want to be live.
We have to be live.
We can't be live. I'm watching something else happening. There's a commercial.
We have to be live. It's time.
I'm busy watching videos from Disc Jockey News in their mini sessions. I can't be live. I'm busy watching those.
And you're only 7 hours
12
in.
hours later, you're finally finishing.
I'm only an hour into them, Sean.
Yeah, how long will this take? I'm an hour in. What's left? Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming back with us for our final session tonight. If you missed our first show, we talked to DJ Sarah from Toronto and had a good time talking to her about her music and her passion with that and what she's doing with that music world. So it's kind of a cool thing. You guys can check that out. But tonight, we're going to be talking about cool things, and we're not going to dig into too much. Shani will be with us in just a few minutes. So we were going to talk about beautiful things.
Pancakes.
Pancakes.
I love me some pancakes. As Ron Swanson from Parks and Recreation says, there's no sadness in the world that can't be cured with breakfast food.
With breakfast food, there's a level of truth to that. I mean, how can you be sad when you've got bacon, good, sunny side up eggs and perfect toast and little hash browns on the side that are perfectly browned? How can you be unhappy?
Wow, you eat a light breakfast. I would go for a bacon bypass breakfast with the 4 kinds of meat, the 3 kinds of eggs, the 2 kinds of potatoes, and pancake stack chin high, and French toast sticks. Yes, thank you, Reggie.
Reggie.
Eat breakfast without French toast. That would be the ultimate breakfast.
Oh, heck, Reggie chases that down with a beer. I mean, he's from Wisconsin. There's probably a brat on that plate somewhere too.
Oh, we call that dipping toast. Dip it in our beer and drink it.
Oh, that's good stuff. So yesterday, guys, we did the 11-hour mini sessions. Started at 1 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Eastern, and went all the way to 1 a.m. Actually, 1:15, maybe 1:20 when we finally logged off last night. Oh my goodness gracious! What a day. Compared to when we first started doing these shows, MJ, and we were having internet issues, almost constantly. You would think in 12 hours we would have crashed numerous times, burned a few times. We had surprisingly very few, and some of you were with us a lot yesterday. Thank you for being there. We had very few technical issues throughout the day. I was really surprised.
Cool. Technology is amazing because that's, again, with the topic. I'm not going to get into the topic tonight, but it's funny to look back think about when you first started. What was it? You said 2011 you started the YouTube channel?
We did. 2010 we started it, and then 2014 was when we started trying to do some of our live shows. Which those first live shows, there were nights where we just bailed. It just wasn't going to happen. Our connection wasn't strong enough. We didn't have enough internet bandwidth, what have you. So we basically, sorry. That kind of stuff is going on constantly. So we would have to pull the plug. But we haven't had that type of a situation. Of course, now that I say this, it's going to happen. As soon as Shani's here, it'll crash.
Didn't we have this a few weeks ago with the 7,000?
Yeah, I was going to say, we had it, but those were technical. Those weren't internet issues.
That was precisely. That was a mixer that went kapooey, which now the new one is over there, which is really kind of, I've talked about this. Personas, I love their little, this is the 44V VSL. And the VSL is part of their software package that allows you to digitally control compression, limiting, gains, EQ, and everything with an app. I love it because it works on this computer. Well, now they don't support the VSL software anymore. So it's basically just a a generic USB input device. So you don't have that ability to go set gains and different things. So these little controllers kind of suck because you can't do much with them. You've got a gain on the front, and that's it. It's like, well, what about limiting? I want my limiting back. Well, you have to use our app, which allows you to record, but it doesn't allow you to feed it into another application. It's like, so I was a huge Personas fan until that. Now I'm not. I mean, their gear is still great, but that app was, 80% of my excitement of the Personas devices was the app, and then when it doesn't work,
What does it say about your life that you get excited about an app?
I know. It's the simple things in life. That and tripods. I get excited about tripods.
I actually John, just because of you, I just got one. Hold on. Well, we will be debuting it Wednesday. John, tell them about Wednesday while I take this tripod out of over here.
Wednesday, actually, we are going to be doing our first show. We've been reprogramming or redoing some of our shows and such. And Wednesday night's going to become a consistent weekly show now. And so we're going to be starting and talking about the gear that you guys will be using or could be using. And we're going to start Wednesday night talking about the 7000 and going through and showing you each and every little component, what it does, and comparing it to what you could be using it for at your shows. MJ's got multiple cameras set up. We've got the one up at the front door, so when UPS man comes, we can see that. When he brings the 7000, we've got the next one that is in the hallway as MJ drags it down the steps into his recording studio. Then we've got the ones in the recording studio when you can see him unbox it and put it together.
Yeah. And then we got this one because John made me get this.
Oh yeah. You've got mine's over there.
It's for an overhead shot of the equipment. It sets on the desk, kind of like this.
It gives you a nice angle shot of the controller and such.
So we're gonna have a very nice top angle for Wednesday night. So when you look at the controller and I'm showing you buttons and talking about things, you're gonna get a great view of it.
It'll be awesome.
It's not just duct tape to the microphone this time.
It wasn't duct taped. I had actually, because I had showed John what I had done. I had taken a metal yardstick and bent it.
That's right. Yep.
Drilled a hole and then made a 1/4-inch hole that would fit the mount for this GoPro mount. Because this is one of the mounts that has the both on both sides, so that when I mount it, it's facing so that it looks right side up.
But it was a metal yardstick that he had bent and it had a little foot so it could go where it needed to go.
Now I have something more professional.
And he'll be awesome.
We're going to do a lot of that kind of stuff. I'm really, really trying hard. And Dan, I still am hearing feedback on me, aren't I?
A little bit.
I don't know what's going on with my system. Maybe mine's going down. But anyways, trying very hard this week to get my hands on the Roland DJ 808. I'm going to be testing that and seeing if I can talk someone into letting me take it home for a Wednesday night, and we could do a live event with that.
Awesome. That would be great.
I'm kind of hoping that my friend will let me trade him out and say, yeah, you take the 7000 for a night. Have fun with it. I'll take this for a night, and then tomorrow we'll meet back up and hopefully give each other our stuff back.
It'll be interesting to see. Yeah, no, I like this one.
Well, mine's actually worth his costs more than the 7000, so that maybe would be a trading point because I know I do want my 7000 back, so I could say, hey, it's worth more. If you like the 7000,
Yeah, you probably.
It's fine, but yeah. So that's one of the things we're going to try to do that. There's quite a few other things that we're talking about. John has been collecting record players for a while this year. So we're probably going to be talking a little bit about record players and needles and different things like that for those of you who are interested, maybe getting back into, if nothing more, playing it in your house and pulling out some records that you have not seen the light of day since you had a 33-inch waistline. And what is he pointing at?
Paul McCartney. I changed these throughout the night last night. What album was showing up in the back? And right tonight we have Sir Paul McCartney with us.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Just want to let you know
we may do a show in the future, and we did this one time online with some friends of mine. It's called "Why Do I Own This?" And they're records that we own that we go, where did I buy this at, and how do I have this in my collection? So we may do that.
That would be an interesting. Yeah, I'd have to go through the old CDs from the 90s.
I get some. No, it has to be a record, and then we'll do it.
See, because of me restarting my collection. I mean, the only really cool. Oh, I put it back up there. Was the
It's supposed to be like, why do I own this? I would never listen to this. When did I buy this?
See, I never listened to it. I've been rebuying, and it's only things I would listen to. So I wouldn't be good for that one.
I got a few that's like, wait, what dollar did I give up to take this home?
I had a heavy conversation with Brian Red on that when they're doing the digging, the crate digs and such, and some of them he's like, what? Why did I don't remember why.
Yeah. That's all part of digging. You get stuff and in the moment you grab it, and then later on you go, wait, what?
What's on here?
Yep. For
Reggie,
those who have joined us, we're going back to Reggie in just 1 second. Shaney, we're waiting on Shaney to join us. She's running a couple minutes late, and then we will get into tonight's topic about technology eliminating the DJ. So, John,
Reggie is he's got his beverage, and he's ready to go for tonight's show. So we're cheering for Reggie.
He said something about 45. So does that mean that he's using a 45 as a coaster
for his beverage? Yes, he's probably still have the 45, but it's only useful for this, and it handles the. If we
do a record night, there's a guy here in the city. He's a friend of mine, and he was huge, and I mean like a biggest name in the city during the disco era. Okay, I mean, he's quite a bit older. But I saw him one night, like 3 years ago, spin nothing but 45s at an event. Man, did he throw down. I mean, like this guy's like, probably, I'm guessing 60, because he was a big hit in the 70s. And he was throwing, and he had these old headphones on that look like something you'd see on WKRP or something, for those who are old enough to remember that TV show, old headphones. And he was spinning 45s, mixing, not just I'm going to press play, mixing them. And it was awesome. So,
now 45s, if you were going to do some scratching with a 45, would you have to do it differently because of the way it's recorded and the speed?
Now your stroke is just a little bit different as all, because it's a smaller diameter. So you're moving it is going to be covering more of the note than it would on a 33. So if from here to here on a 33, your note may be like this long, but on 45 it might be this long. So if you move that further, you're covering actually more of that note within there. But there are guys there. If you want to go look at some really interesting stuff, go look at what is his name? I just blanked on his name. Crap.
That's a really interesting name.
Newmark, DJ Newmark, and DJ, what is his name? The other guy. They do a lot of live record tours, and they did a tour where it was all 45s, the two of them, and they go back and forth with mixing and scratching. And then he pulled out a thing that I've collected recently because I'm one of them before I saw him scratch them. But he scratched them. For those of you who are old enough to remember, what is a pocket disc? So, is there any really old people here that knows what a pocket disc is?
No, that isn't.
A pocket disc was a record that they put out in the 50s. And it's about as thick as, I would say, like cardboard. It's like this.
Okay.
Bendable. It's about that big. I have a picture somewhere. I don't know if I could find it. It would take me a while to find it and show it to you. It plays at 33 speed with a single 33 in the center. And they were sold out of vending machines. And the idea was, and it's even written on the thing, is that you could carry a bunch of them in your hip pockets. They call them hip pocket discs or pocket disc, because back then, you wanted to carry 20 songs. That's a lot of records. But the pocket discs were super thin. They were about this big, and you could throw them in your back pocket and take them places and play them. And in that event, when those guys did that tour, the one guy was scratching with pocket discs, which is like absurd, because for me to get them to play on my player, I had to like weight them down enough so that the needle setting on them didn't stop them from spinning, because they're spinning that light. So I had to put weight in the center of them so that it had enough weight to spin, and then let the record track off of that.
Yeah, a little bit different than pocket pool. Pocket pool is a different sport.
Yeah.
Played by teenage boys all across the land. But that's another story.
You guys are so much up.
I'm in the middle trying to YouTube or trying to find it. I found the YouTube video on it. That's about it.
On the discs?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bring it up, or do you want me to share it?
Yeah.
I'm heading there now.
I got it if you want. I mean, it's a. Yeah, here. You want me to share?
I'm trying to see if I can find one. Yeah, send it to me on the private message.
The link.
Link, and you guys can see them. And I will.
Shani is up. Let's bring her on in here, and then we can get going with tonight's topic. With our new software, it's a little more cumbersome to bring someone in. So you'll see it's going to take a second here. Shani, we're live right now as you're coming in here. So do you have Mike?
Yes. Hi, guys.
Nice.
Hi.
And
We're sharing a record right now, Shani. We've been talking about records.
Like records as in like 45s, or records as in like John setting the record yesterday for talking to like 80 million DJs and like wanted to be in the Guinness Book of World Records for yesterday. You know what? You should look into that, John. Being in the Guinness Book of World Records for yesterday.
Well, you can always just claim it, and that in our estimation, this is.
We claimed it, yeah.
We just claimed it until someone else.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, first of all, I don't know if you guys even brought this up, but I just want to applaud John for even putting that together yesterday and having Wu-Tang and their whole family and then some on the show yesterday, and the Brady Bunch and any other all of
He got his wife involved.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. And I mean, I wasn't able to watch a lot of the shows because I was working all weekend, but I can't wait to just watch them on YouTube and learn and see like every freaking DJ in the world that John put on there for content. And I'm hoping to better myself from it. So I applaud John for that. So thank you.
What cool couple of notes today is that there's a few DJ owners yesterday that basically had their staff come in. I've heard that, I think, from 3 different ones. One particular company had 15 DJs that they brought in, and they basically said, the guy said, I had food catered in, and we set it up in a theater situation, and we would run. And then he goes, and then when you guys would go between sessions, he goes, we would, okay, what points should we get out of that one?
That's awesome.
So it's like, wow. It's like, that was really cool. So one particular company, he had about 5 or 6 people. He's like, it's time for us to look at bringing our staff to one of the conventions, which is, yay, that's exactly what these types of things were, is to basically give you guys an idea of what that hallway communication and hallway banter is about, and how that you could get involved. So, okay.
Pocket disc, real quick. We'll go back into this later. But this is a little record player here, and this is a pocket disc. And you'll see, I'm going to zoom ahead a bit here and watch him pick it up. And it came in these little tiny things. You can see how floppy it is and thin it is. And you would put that on there, and then
that's cute.
Play the record. We were talking about how DJ Newmark, and I can't think of the other guy who tours with Newmark. What's his name?
Crazy.
Endless or whatever. And he did a scratch routine with these.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I have a few of them. Actually, I think I have the Joan Baez one for real. I'm almost positive I have the Joan Baez one. But they used to sell them out of vending machines in the 50s, and they were. It says on there, you can have 20 discs in your pocket. Take 20 songs with you wherever you go, and to think 20 songs now is absurd compared to what it was. But we'll do a record show in the future if you guys want. Who knows? All right, since Shani is here, we're ready to start because we were going to start without you. So if you're fast forwarding in a future show and watching this in an on-demand session, stop now. Tonight, as you saw from the flyer, we're going to talk about, is technology making the DJ obsolete? And I have a lot of stuff I want to talk about to kind of go across this point and kind of better explain what I mean by, is it making the DJ obsolete? Because different people have different definitions of what a DJ is to start with, okay? But what I want to do here is kind of go over some past, take us from the past, where we are now, and go into the future. And because I think people have a short-term memory of things, because you look at, every time we elect a new president, there's a portion of the population that goes, this is the worst thing ever, or the country's going to go into a hole. And then 4 or 8 years later, when they elect a new one, they go, oh, it's going to fall into a hole. And then 8 years later, when someone else is elected, so they forget that this happens all the time. And so along with the DJ stuff, as I've talked about before, that how many times in the past, for those of us who are old enough to remember, people saying no one will ever DJ with a CD. It's the dumbest thing in the world. No one will use a CD. And then no one will use a computer. Why would you DJ with the computer? And then people saying no one will ever DJ with a controller. Well, guess what? Things change. So I want to look approximately 10 years back and 10 years to the future. And that's where I want to start with tonight, okay?
Sounds good.
Okay.
But I want to start a little bit further than 10 years on the first one. I want to go back to 5 BC.
Well, I was going to start talking
computer?
about my history with when the first time I met Drax and what he was talking about. Drax is in the room tonight.
Was that 5 BC?
It
for
wasn't
Drax?
5
Drax,
BC,
I love
so-
you. I love you, Drax.
So Drax,
Talk about that, John. Drax is joining us. He made a comment on thing earlier. I'm happy to see him here. We are going to let John talk about that because John told me that story. But 5 BC was the year that both Winamp and Megaseg were invented. So let's stop using. I'm kidding. That was my joke. But no, okay.
Jurassic Park, like, was that like they had it there? Or
exactly.
The dinosaurs used to use Winamp to play their music, so don't play it and don't use it anymore. But 1999, okay, we're talking about our lifetimes, and I want to look at a couple things here. 1999
was a good song by Prince. Oh, I'm sorry.
and it was the year that PC DJ was invented or released, however you want to say that. 2000, Tractor. 2003, Virtual DJ. 2004, Serato. The very first controller, 2004. YouTube, 2005. Google Maps, 2005. Twitter, 2006. Facebook was open to anyone of the age of 13 or older in 2006. Now we're at the 10-year point because I'm trying to make a picture of what has happened in a short period of time. So now we're at 10 years ago. Okay. So 2007. Okay. Keep in mind that the average 21-year-old, not the average, but any 21-year-old, 10 years ago was 11. So your general audience of people you're marrying or DJing at a club with were 11 years old 10 years ago. So I want you to think about technology as we move through this, from their point of view of someone who was a 10-year-old in 2006 and 2007. All right. The first iPhone was in 2007. And I have a picture I want to share that is both the most popular cell phones 20 years ago and the most popular cell phones 10 years ago. So I'm trying to paint a picture for our technology and how it goes and how it is changing our lives as DJs, okay? So the top two were the most popular phones 20 years ago, and the bottom two are the most popular phones 10 years ago.
Where's my brick phone? I never had a drop call on that.
That's because no one else had a phone back then, Shani. They never
It was
called.
just me.
Shaney, that
It
was a
just
brick.
me.
That was a brick. You're from Chicago. They were bricks. They were throwing them at people. The brickyard. It's what
I
they
stole that from my dad, the brick phone. It's just gonna be cool. Like I would walk around with it.
No joke. I'll tell this story. It's embarrassing. As a very young person, my friend had one, and we went through a drive-through. And I said, "Well, and I'm gonna fake like I'm talking." I picked up his phone and I'm faking. I'm talking.
And it rang. Did it ring?
No, it didn't ring, but I was trying to be all cool, faking talking on his phone, making people. Let's go.
I know somebody that fake talked to try to like do something, then it rang. And we're all like, poser.
Wow. All right, so that's 10 years ago, okay? And 2010 was the first time Pioneer released a controller. So that's just 7 years ago. Okay, so we're painting a picture of what the average.
I would have thought that would have been earlier.
Yeah, no. The first, it wasn't. What was 2004 was the first controller period. It was made by her. Well, it was called the Hercules.
Hercules, right?
Which then later became the company Hercules. But we also want to look at styles of things that have passed in the job that we do. It wasn't not too long ago, and even in some other countries, weddings were not emceed by a DJ. They were emceed by the best man or a family member.
Yep.
Okay, that has passed. In the past, weddings were held in barns, and then they were held in fire halls, and then really big meeting halls at hotels and things. And now they're back to being held again.
Because it's a cool thing now.
Yeah.
And back then, you were probably considered a poor person if you had a DJ at your wedding because you had to have a band. Bands were what you had. And now it's kind of going the other way. It's going, oh, we're going to have a trendy band at our wedding as opposed to a cheap DJ. So things change. And I want to paint that picture to look forward in what is in our hands right now. The programs we have, whether they be in app form or program form on a computer, can beat match, determine what it is and beat match. And they're coming to a point where that they are starting to be able to mix. Now, I've explained this before, and if you want to join me on one of our DJ classes, I'll be happy to explain the difference between beat matching and mixing, because they are two totally separate things. Just because you can beat match does not mean you can mix. Shazam, the app, says that it can and has predicted hit songs before they become hit songs. The algorithms in the app can predict hit songs. People will download music and videos now that have all the information about the song in the tags. They don't even have to know what genre it is. It's in the tags. Serato Flip and Virtual DJ 8 will let you edit within itself to create different edits or things without even having to have an outside workstation, a digital audio workstation, a DAW. You don't even have to have that. It's coming in there. There are automatic gains on the programs now. If the songs back in the day, and this is one of the things where I want to bring about that I feel that it's taking away, is that you had to be able to hear if a song wasn't in key with another song. That was your only choice. If they were, you had to know music enough to know that. Now, if they don't match, there's a button that makes them match. Transposing the keys is automatically. We have wireless controlled software, wireless controlled lights and sound, wirelessly operated battery powered lights and sound. And there was a company today that I just posted a article on that is doing song mastering. So you don't even have to have a studio. You make a song, you send it to them, they master it for you and send it back. So that takes us to a product that we talked about a couple of weeks ago. And this is where I want to start the discussion in with this. I saw an article where they used this phrase for the new Denon MC5000, where they said that the SC5000, it dumbed down technology that will put DJing in more people's hands and in a better way. Because with the SC5000, you don't have to have a computer. You literally just have to have a thumb drive of songs. Yeah. Plug it in, and it scans not only the BPM, it scans the waveform, the key, it analyzes it in every way, and that's all you need. So as what is in our hands right now, think about that in what I just mentioned about stuff that was 10 years ago. What skills have been added with that technology that weren't there 10 years ago that you had to have, or you were a crap DJ? So think about that, right? Let's start right there. The stuff that's in your hands now. I know none of us own a 5000 as of yet, but still think about the technology of that. What's going on in yours that wasn't there before, and how that it's changed you as a DJ? Dan, let's start with you.
So 10 years ago, I was not in any way, shape, or form even thinking about doing this, but I have a wireless router in my box so that I connect my iPad, my laptop, everything together, and also connect my phone should I need to go out and use it as a remote control for my computer.
Are you doing the wireless lights through that too also?
No, you can. I mean, I know some guys that run the Luminaire software, but no, it's strictly audio. No, I like to take it back. The iPad has the control of the lights that's on the laptop, so it's like a MIDI controlled that way,
right?
But not just the modem from that standpoint.
Right. So that eliminated things in the past that you would have had to have. That you've kind of that's taken your hardware and made it lighter, correct? Kind of in a way.
It freed up the ability for me to be in multiple places at once.
Oh, so you made two Dans.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a good thing, but it did. Yes.
Technology has given us two Dans. Janie, what's your thoughts on that?
Just on DJing itself, going from, having like my whole entourage helping me carry crates of music into wherever I'm spinning. And, if they didn't have the turntables, having to carry all that, or even the CDJs and having to carry the cases of CDs, to now just carrying my DJ backpack and, not even like the CDs and mixer anymore, like, a controller, and then having my pick on, if I'm going out of town, I don't have to bring like the SZ or the RZ. I can bring tiny, small, 2-channel controllers. So for me, just the size and the easiness of bringing what I'm spinning on and what I'm using to spin to the way it was before is like night and day. You will never hear me complain about how heavy my DJ backpack is. Well, maybe in an airport you will, but like compared to what I had to, carry before, or even just, as you guys know, in the past, I've talked about that. I really don't like doing the USBs because I like to have just my mind going all creative while I'm there for the night, but knowing that maybe I'm doing like an hour set somewhere, and I literally could just walk in with USBs in my pocket and, and like my headphones. I mean, that's just, to me, that's just incredible to know that you can do something like that and just be like, yeah, I'm DJing. Yeah, I have my stuff with me. And they're going to be like, where's your bag? You're like, no, I got my USB right here.
Let's talk about that creative side right there, where you said, because I'm the same way. I don't like to have a preset set. I love the idea of, in the middle of the craziness, being creative and digging through and looking down and saying, I have 32 seconds of this song left where I have to be creative, find something cool, and make the mix happen right. That is something that is, I believe, developed through knowing your songs. That's one of the things that when I teach my classes, I talk about. That's one of the biggest things about being a DJ is knowing your song. And like I said before, where the songs are now coming pre-tagged with all kinds of information in them, genre and everything. Where does that take you in what you see on both what you do and what some of the people you cross with on a professional level, other DJs and stuff, with music knowledge? Because with Brian and your Tuesday night show, Brian is just, I appreciate his deep knowledge of music, and how does that translate to a new person who doesn't have that?
It's going to be an interesting transition when the technology comes in, because there's part of that picking of music, and as you were saying, playing a gut feeling in a room and having that ability to do that, and that's probably going to be the biggest. I know Drax had mentioned earlier in our conversation that in a point in time in history, that, or in the future, that computers are going to be able to mix well and pick songs, as you were alluding to also, MJ. But that gut feeling that we've developed from years of play, and I think that's, as I'm teaching younger DJs, teaching my boys and some of their friends a little bit about the DJ world, they just don't have that music knowledge, music experience to know that, hey, wait a second, I could go with this additional top 40 song and mix in with that, to mix and go that direction. Or I could go back here and grab this song from like 1990 that would fit in really well, or even go back to 1980 whatever and use this song. And that experience, I think, is something that will probably be one of the few things that will keep the human element into the DJ world. Because again, computers will be able to do it and do it a lot better in many ways, as you were talking about. There was one aspect we missed. There was this little company called DJ Power in the mid '90s. I don't know. Did any of you remember DJ Power?
I know a DJ named DJ Power, but
DJ
no.
Power.
Say the same thing, Janie.
DJ Power was a a computer system. It was one of the first ones, and I believe I think Drax had this, was one of the first people that I saw with it back in the day. A gentleman by the name of Saeed had this, DJ Power, and it was and it was pretty much gone by the time, early 2000s, it was gone. So I think he was in the mid 90s is when I first started to see this, and he would probably be one of the first systems, software-wise, for playback. And I may be wrong on that, but I believe DJ Power was one of the first. And it was a computer system, and it was his code based on what he wanted it to do, and they could do some mixing and different things with it. And I believe he might have even had some controllers that were tied into that, and that part I'd be a little fuzzy on and such. But that was one of the early, and that would have been pushing probably 96. So yeah, you're talking 20 some years ago. that was out there. And that suitcase, I remember numerous friends bought that and they loved it. And every time they'd come up with an update with that, and this is what they explained to me, is that they were just adding more code on top of code, and it became this kind of lumbering, cumbersome operating system, and it just got to the point where the guys just got out of it. Again, in early 2000s, it died, and I think it was last week when Bill Herman finally stepped away from DJ Power.
I remember the first time I put my hands on PC DJ, and I hated it so much it took me like 10 years before I tried DJing with a computer again because I hated it so bad.
The very first time that we heard Drax talking about this, and he did the DJ for the next millennia. And he's up on the stage, and that probably wasn't the topic and such, but he was basically doing this. And if there was any pictures of Drax when he did that, he's up there in this. He talked about this his Drax work attire, and he's on the stage and he's up there talking about that this is the future, and you guys are going to be doing this, and we're all looking and don't wait, not we love our CDs. How would we ever go away from the CDs and such? I mean, it just wasn't that way, and yet what he was talking about, he definitely knew what he was talking about and could see that trend, and knowing that computer gear was going to become as reliable as it has was really kind of a neat world. So
I've been reading the chat room, and I know they were talking about like the music selection and everything, and I'm one of those type of DJs, even in my private events, not just the club, where I'm all over the place. I don't stick with, I know people are like, oh, well, I'll track what you're playing, play the next song for you. No, it wouldn't work for me because I don't stay with one genre. And if I'm in a top 40, it doesn't stay top 40. I might call it the top 40 set because most of the music in there will be top 40, but I throw in craziness that might be the same BPMs or it might be the same, key as it, but that's what makes me different than other DJs, because I'm not the norm where people will be like, oh, okay, she's playing this now. I bet you she's probably going to go to this one or she's going to play this. And I'm the type of person where I leave people guessing. And I'm the type of DJ where, if I am in a club or even like hardcore into the dance part of the wedding where it's the club setting now, I want to hear that, or they're just, they hear that first beat of that song and they're just like, it brings back memories and things like that. Plus I use a lot of the transition songs. And if you guys don't know about that, it's going to make your DJing just so much easier, to the point where how do people go from the hip hop or the trap or the twerk or this and that to like the EDM or the top 40? And how do you go from, with 100 or an 80 beats per minute to a 128 or vice versa, without trying to take the whole night of trying to get there and get there and get there and get there and get there. And those transition songs, like, that's what makes it for me. So if you guys aren't using those, that is key for me to try to, and I flip back and forth. I don't, back in the day when I first started DJing, I'm like, I'm going to play this song later because that's going to be the hot song. And but now I learn, and I'm going to be honest with it, I blow my wad whenever I want. Basically, it's just, I don't try to save it up for the end and try to make this big, big night going. If it's a hot song, I want to get people going. And if they see that I'm playing like the hot song that's out now, trust me, I'll get them on the dance floor and I'll get them rocking, and I'll play all different genres all over the place. And I'm one of those people, if something is hot, or God rest their soul, like a great artist, passed away, even if I'm with a young crowd, I had four remixes of Careless Whisper that were dance remixes and everything. And that weekend I played them, and the younger people now know because it's all over social media and they look into it. And if they weren't a George Michael fan, they know his songs now. So when they hear it, they know those songs, the whole thing with Prince and stuff like that. So my whole thing is, I don't know if the computer generation will work for me, because I'm all over the place when it comes to, mixing music. And I don't just say, okay, this is going to be my bachata set, and this is going to be my top 40 set, and this is going to be my trap set. And then no, I'm all over the place. That's the way I like to keep people on their feet and keep them going.
Friday night. It's funny you mentioned about being all over the place. My friend, I don't know if I say his name, I doubt he even cares, DJ Pat, posted about, he goes, Chance the Rapper into Aretha Franklin. Yep. And it was because right before I saw that post, I went from Snoop Dogg into Aretha Franklin. And I'm like, no, I did this, dude. So it's one of those things that if you don't know, and that's why I think some of the stuff, people grabbing music the way they grab it now, it's a different mentality. In the same way that if you don't know what Serato flip is, go look at a video on that, and you will, if you're used to thinking on the lines of song, mixer in the middle, and seeing someone use Serato flip and use samples from 20,000 things and taking 12 versions of the same songs and editing them and using them in and out and bringing them and looping them and all this stuff at the same time, your mind's going to be like, what the heck? And the reason, like I said, I wanted to go past to forward is exactly what you said, John, about with Drax and the thing that he said, the acceptance of the technology. Because think about 10 years ago when we first got the iPhone. If you said that you were going to have something like Siri or Alexa or Cortana or Google Now at your hands and or at your desk, where you just go, what is the temperature today? You would have been like, what is this? We've accepted it. So why do people so much tend to reject that change in technology? Like DJs, I want to say, I don't even want to point out names, but DJs who reject the change in technology. Where do you feel that's coming from?
I don't know if it was a rejection as much as it was and
Not
again,
that-
I'm
talking about the kind of like the guys now who go, if you use a sync button, you're cheating.
yeah. Well, I think there's a level of jealousy in our industry and the ego. You put that together, and it's going to be, if you're doing something and you're successful, I'm going to hate something you do. I don't care what it is. It's either how you dress, it might be how you talk, it might be how you play your music. I'm going to hate something because you're successful. That's just the way it is. Life is junior high. This is just kind of the way it is.
Acceptance of technology. I'm going to run through a small list of acceptance of technology, and this will take us into looking at the past, what we have now, and where will it be in the future. We've accepted stuff like our phone monitoring us all the time, everywhere we go, everything we do, everything we type. Places like Amazon or different software apps that predict what you want before you even know you want it half the time.
Yeah.
By putting up ads and stuff like that. The acceptance of there not actually being a DJ on your local radio station, or if there is an actual live DJ, they're not in the market that you're at, that most radio stations don't have DJs. And that's been something that's accepted. Amazon did the cashier free store video recently. Well, IBM did one in the past where walking into a store not having to use money, where you don't have to do anything.
Our local Sam's Club is a cashier free. You can have that experience where you can go in there with the app, zip, 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 and I'm sure many stores are going to be doing that.
Yeah, even the self checkout.
Yeah.
Think about that. What do you mean? I'm not checking myself out.
Yeah, but here's my problem with self checkout, and I'll say it. You can't use coupons.
Yes, you can.
No, not in my self checkouts, because then you have to go to a real register to use and I'm not talking like the app to get like your points. I'm like real coupons from like the paper.
Yeah.
Or, download.
Scan them.
I thought they scanned.
Some scan, yeah, not all of them.
Okay, well then at my Target they don't let you. I'm just saying.
It's very possible. I don't know. Well,
yeah, my Target, they're like, oh, you have coupons. You have to go to like a real person. I'm like, yeah, I have coupons.
Well,
there's discounts. If I had my mom with me, I would get the old person discount too if I could.
No comment. Well, remember, John bought a record at Target a while back, or was it? He said that he saw them there. Or you saw
Best Buy.
I thought you said it was Target. There was
no. It was Best Buy. I was going through Best Buy.
No, Sam's Club had like the DJ unit. Of
the all-in-one DJ.
All-in-one. You can DJ too.
Yeah.
And if you guys missed last Tuesday night or whatever night it was, Brian read, and you guys were going over the stuff at NAMM, John, you at some point really have to share that video of the Pimp My Speakers video.
The
one where you snuck the video over the corner, and it was a barrage of speakers that had LEDs built into them, and I swear it looked like a 70s disco had a love child with a police car flashing lights.
It did, yeah. There were numerous of those. I've got some. I was actually going through and I forgot to take a lot of the pictures off and video off the 360 camera. So I'm going to be dropping some more of those because there were some things I took there that showed in that vicinity of the area, because I could go and click and keep going and not be obvious about it.
There was some crazy stuff. But let's take a look at all of that technology now. So we've looked at what we have in our hands right now, what we didn't have 10 years ago, what we're using, what the software can do now. So let's go 10 years into the future. And believe it or not, 10 years in the future is 2027. Think about that. Think about you saying, oh, it's 2027. Or think about 10 years ago, you saying 2027. That seems like way off in the future, right? It seems like crazy in the future, right? Well, so 2017 and 2010.
Yeah.
I remember being a young person seeing 2001 Space Odyssey and thinking that's so far off the future, it'll never happen. Or when 1999 came out and thinking it'll be a lifetime before we ever get there.
Yeah.
And now we're 18 years past it. Okay. So let's take a look in the future where the technology that we didn't have, how much it's grown to what we have to where it can grow. So now it's the year 2027. Software can not only beat match, but it can efficiently mix to where it's posting words perfectly together, perfectly in key, everything. Hardware is even smaller and cheaper than it is now. Tiny little things what we used to have in our phone as a pocket can be this big now in 10 more years. It's also gotten cheaper. The same with lights and speakers. Bars now in 2027 can buy something the size of a cell phone. That I have a message and I don't know who it's from. From me, I'm selling it. And along with that little device I'm selling software. So when you buy this, you get a device that you plug into your sound system that my software reads how many speakers you have, their wattage, what they can take. It reads how many lights you have, what type they are, what can they do. And I've programmed into every one of those songs that's going to mix perfectly to do stuff with your lights automatically, where you don't have to do a thing except plug it in and then let your audience, via some sort of wireless device in the future, it could be by blinking off in the distance, pick songs to then dance to. And because our voice recognition of like Siri and Alexa are so great, in 10 years, we're going to be able to hold conversations with Alexa. And we're going to be able to hold conversations with Siri. And probably Siri and Alexa will argue and have Twitter feeds where they bash each other for wearing the wrong type of digital dress. and all this stuff is purchased by bars and clubs at a really cheap rate, like cheaper than any DJ could come. Okay. Brides can order a pre-programmed package with an MC who will not be drunk, who knows what songs to play when, knows how to fade them off. There is going to be facial recognition software that looks at the audience and determines when they're getting bored and changes things to keep them involved. Because 10 years ago, we didn't even have very good eye recognition, and now every phone comes with either an eye or a fingerprint reader. Every phone, practically. So in 10 years, the facial recognition is going to be further. So that this software that the bride is getting is going to come in, and it's going to be lights and sound and video, and it's all going to be either remotely ran by one person, like me. It's my business now, so I'm going to host your wedding from a distance with my Tupac hologram. So I'm going to pay for Tupac's hologram, and Tupac is going to now host your wedding from a distance with lights that can be remotely operated via machine or person. It can be pre-programmed by not only someone like me, who is a professional and selling you the system, but for a cheaper rate, you can have it run by someone in your family because it's so easy. Anybody can run it in 10 years. Anybody can press play and let it run through the program of the whole night. By that time, it's going to predict moods. It's going to adjust to enhance the atmosphere, the flow, and the timing of your evening. And it's all going to be able to be plugged in simply by one person. Where does that leave us as DJs? Because if we look at the skills that we have right now, the skills that I value, the skills that I learned from being able to hear songs that are mixed offbeat, not on cue. Knowing the history of songs, knowing that this song kind of sounds like this song from the 90s. In 10 years, software is going to do it all.
Yep.
There's no doubt in my mind.
Right.
It's going to be there. Where does that leave us as DJs, both in the club sense and at the wedding or private event sense?
Obsolete,
in
my opinion.
What can we do to be ahead of that and to be valuable to that scene?
Okay, I'll answer first.
Yeah,
here's my opinion on all that. I'm going in a different direction than you are for the future. Okay? My direction for the future is the virtual reality. And instead of people still getting on flights and planes and I got to have this wedding because I want my whole family here and everyone's going to say at 9 p.m. on this date, you all put your glasses on
and log in
and I don't know if anybody's ever done the virtual reality, but that is so real. It's spooky. So I think, in my opinion, the future is going to be, and it's not just for the DJs. I think, for every world, go on vacation, go on a dream vacation. Like
have a date.
Have a date, right? Virtual reality
relationship,
right, with a real person, but not really real because of virtual reality. Yeah. But I think it's going to go in that world. But if it does, I would love for these corporate companies that have the brains and have the power to hire the right people, meaning like a DJ that will program all of it for their virtual reality. And this company have a DJ to program all of it for their virtual reality. And so now you have different, instead of different DJs to choose from, you have different virtual reality companies be like, well, they'll give you a little 2-minute snippet of what your wedding can be like from this company. And the people who are programming it, are the computer programmers or the robots, but there's still like somebody that knows how to tell them the perfect way to do it. So in my opinion, we're still going to be obsolete, but it's all going to be a virtual world for people to go into. Even the club. I don't see people taking their spacecraft of their Maybach spacecraft with the spinners to the club. In the reality, they will, and they'll pick up their friend and, they get hype in the car, dancing to Chance the Rapper and stuff, but, and popping bottles, but they're all doing it in the virtual reality. They take the glasses off, they're drunk and they're falling asleep in their chair. Boom. So in my opinion, I think it's going to go that virtual reality route and we'll still be obsolete.
I wouldn't say, okay, I would like to defend you there and we'll go on to whoever wants to talk next, but I wouldn't say obsolete. It's a job change at that point.
Yes. Because you need people to program it. Yeah.
Yeah, because 10 years ago, DJs didn't need 10 or 20, actually 20 years ago, DJs didn't need to know a single thing about a computer. And then here I am MIDI mapping for 2 days straight, so somebody else.
I think you're going to see in the next 10 years, you're going to see events going to be utilizing some of the virtual reality things Shane's referring to. But I think you're going to find events where you're having multiple DJ streams coming into that wedding reception, and people are going to be able to choose their own experience at their own time. So we might have a wedding that has 5 different broadcasts coming into that same wedding at the same time, like 4 or 5 different radio stations, what have you, so that people can experience what they want to experience on their own, and their device is going to be able to allow them to, through their little earbuds that they now are wearing because they become basically part of our culture, that they can go and they can listen to this channel or that channel, I can listen to this DJ or that DJ. And when you're talking speakers and such, I could see a point in time in the future where you're not going to have big sound systems because everything's going to be, oh, hey, we're walking up to going into this bar tonight. We just we're near field communication type things, and now we're streaming that to that area. Yeah. And as a DJ,
we had a bar recently here in Pittsburgh that on Sunday nights went to silent disco because there's a room next to them that does live bands so that they don't compete.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think the silent disco is great. It's hysterical to be on the outside and watching everybody and hearing them sing and stuff. Because I've seen videos of people like videotaping it with the silent disco. Like I think that's like hysterical. My other flip side of the future, because I had 2 different versions. The virtual reality was one. The other version was the Matrix, where you take the pill.
They already do that, Cheney. It's called a rave. No.
So you take the blue pill and you go into the matrix, and then you take the red pill, and when you want to get out of it, and you get out of it, and it's not even putting on any glasses. It's going in this whole nother realm type thing. But to me, that's the future. That's not, the next 10 years. That's from that of the matrix. But I mean, yeah, but it's not just DJs that are going to be out of business. It's going to be surgeons. It's going to be plumbers. It's going to be everybody.
I have a list here in a minute. I'll go over the list right now. Jobs that did not exist 10 years ago. Uber drivers. Millennial generation experts. Drone operators.
Oh, yeah.
Here's one for you, John. YouTube content creators.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mobile app developers and social media managers.
Oh, yeah.
And ones that no longer exist because of technology. A computer, because a computer used to be a person who computes. Bowling alley pin setter. Switchboard operator. Elevator operator. And my favorite, video store clerk.
I love Blockbuster. Just had to remember to rewind. Be kind and rewind.
Yes. What did they mean by rewind? I don't know. How do you rewind this?
Yeah, how do you rewind this?
Blu-ray. My Blu-ray doesn't rewind.
How do you rewind my Blu-ray? It doesn't rewind. What do I do?
I want to be kind.
Well, my Fire Stick. How do I rewind it? I just think, it's going to be zombies in like 20 years. Zombies are going to take over the world.
And it's interesting as you work with the millennial, and Dan, you work with the kids as they're coming up and such, and how they interact with one another with their devices and such, and how that's going to play into their experiences as they're going out into the world to be entertained. It's so much different. I mean, at that age when we were in the 7th and 8th grade, I remember I was still thinking comic books were pretty awesome.
Are they allowed to have their phones at lunch or no?
They're
not allowed to take it. Like they're not allowed to take them out.
Depends on the school.
Okay.
My personal school they do it like once a month, and you have to pay $1, and it's all the money goes to charity. So they kind of do like a fundraiser.
Okay, so basically the minute that bell rings at the end of every school day is the minute those kids take out that darn cell phone and just go crazy because they're going through withdrawal.
Well, and what's kind of cool with my building, just because of the way it's structured, like in my classroom, you can't get signal.
That's awesome.
So I don't have to worry about them messing with it. It just doesn't
work.
Concrete.
I mean, look at it now. If you go to a Starbucks, you go to a restaurant, you go anywhere, even a movie theater, they're all on their phones.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Whether they're just Snapchatting or they're texting each other. Pittsburgh
just did a thing that all our tunnels now are going to have cell phone reception. So you will not have a dead signal anywhere in any of our tunnels in the city.
And they don't know what it is not to have a cell phone. Like they don't know what it is. And if you tell them to put their cell phone away, I mean, I know when I meet with some colleagues for dinner once a month, we do the cell phone stack, whereas everybody has to put their cell phone, and the first person that grabs their cell phone has to pay the whole dinner bill.
Yeah, I would just go grab my phone right away and pay the bill.
I was thinking a different thing.
You're not Jeffrey Craig. You can't do that.
I observed this. This was on a show I watched recently, and the show is basically kind of like this whole a thing between millennials and other words. And they were at a bar, and the one guy who's older comes up, and all of them are looking at their phones, and he's like, "What are you guys doing?" And he goes, "Dating apps. We're looking to meet new people." And they're like, he goes, "I know an app that you can use to actually meet people face to face. It's called a bar, and you're in one." And the one girl who's a millennial goes, to me, again, back to this whole thing where everything they talk about makes sense to me. Millennials, it makes sense to me. The one girl goes, "What do you mean? Walk up to a total stranger when they're hanging out with their friends? Ooh, creepy." And I went, "You're right. Exactly. Why would you do that?"
Because they don't know from, they don't know from that. I mean, it's the same thing. I don't remember if it was 2 years ago at Mobile Beat. I forgot who was performing. I mean, like one of those 90 performers. It wasn't anybody but whoever it was that was, maybe it was like Naughty by Nature or somebody. I don't remember who was performing, but I was standing in the back and I was dancing, and I looked around the room, and every single DJ was not enjoying the moment of like the old school. They had, John's doing exactly what they were doing. And I forgot who it was because they stopped the music and they said something.
Was that wasn't
Who
Freedom Williams, I think.
was it? Well, no, Freedom Rooms was
I thought he dropped an F-bomb
he
about
was
all the
drunk.
the
Oh yeah,
phone.
he was drunk off of his.
I'm so.
And the F bomb was like every 3 seconds from Freedom. But I forgot who it was that actually stopped the music and said, first of all, I want to thank all the DJs for playing my music, because without you guys, we wouldn't have, the airplay we have. But can you please enjoy yourselves at the show tonight and, just have fun? And I mean, when Jazzy Jeff was spinning at Mobile Beat, yeah. Did I have my phone out? You're darn right I had my phone out. Was I videotaping him? Yeah, but I just did like a couple snippets, and then I really wanted to enjoy watching him. And nowadays, nobody knows from that. Nobody knows from just watching the parade come by. I have season tickets to sporting events, and I'm there for the game. I'm a sports fan. I'm there for the game. And every single person around me has their cell phone out. They're going Facebook Live for 10 minutes so they can see everybody's comments. They're doing Snapchats. They're doing Instagrams. They're posting. They're taking 72 selfies of each other and doing the filters. And I was like, do you even know who's playing right now? Did you even see like the 3 baskets that just happened and this and that, because that's the world that we're living in.
That's what I'm saying. I don't have a problem with that, because if I'm going to go to the game, chances are I'm not going to care who's playing. I'm there to hang out with whoever I'm hanging out with. And it would be the same if we went to a bar, a grocery store. I don't have a problem.
Shaney's sounding old.
I am.
You kids, put those things down and get off my lawn.
With my cat. You kids, get off my lawn, you kids. Don't make me call the police on you kids. I'm patting
She's got that down pretty well. That's kind of scary.
I'm patting the cat. I'm not turning knobs. I'm patting the cat.
Petting the cat.
Yeah, wait, I got to have the crooked
I want to share something.
You kids, get off my lawn, you dirty old, I don't know what they do.
I want to share something that was from 5 years ago on Wedding Bee. So this is the future. Keep in mind, this is from 5 years ago on the Wedding Bee. Do we really need a DJ? Quarter of the people, 27%, not a quarter, because it was a mix of ones that said other. There's a large portion out there that do not believe you need a DJ.
And that's when you have to do the sales pitch. You have to explain to them, I get you say you don't want to have a DJ. Let me explain to you the reason why you should have a DJ.
But let's look at the definition of DJ, because some people say that they're a DJ and they don't mix at all. All they do is have a music service,
and that's fine.
Or they press play, or they have speakers and lights and they call themselves a DJ. Is that what these people are saying? You don't need a DJ?
Probably, because that's what they've seen and they don't know any better.
Yeah.
And they've seen the Craigslist DJs and they've seen those type of people. And that's why they're saying, well, we'll just bring Pandora. I mean, it's probably going to be better than the DJ that we saw that came in his, Adidas sweatpants and didn't shave and looked like he came from the homeless shelter and, set up his little Black Widow as a light and, whatever else he had. Because we don't know
how many of those were also saying bands.
Yeah. They don't know. And that's why I don't take offense even when I meet with my clients now and they say, we don't need that. Yep. We don't need that. We don't need that. And I'm like, you're right. You don't need it, but I bet you something, the way I'm going to explain it to you, it's going to enhance your event and you're going to have an incredible event, because guess what? Nobody cares about the chicken. As much as I'm sure it's great chicken and you're paying $50-something a plate for the chicken, but nobody cares about the chicken.
But at the wedding, who gets more pictures, the chicken or the DJ?
Well, it all depends. If it's young people, they're going to take all those food pics, and it. And they're going to post all the food pics.
I challenge people, and I wish there's some way we could actually do a test of this, is that you ask an average person, not a DJ, an average person, of all the weddings they've been to in their life, tell me something specific about any of the DJs you saw. And I guarantee that the majority, and I'm talking 90%, will go, I don't remember any of the DJs being special about anything.
Yeah.
Unless they did something bad.
Exactly. Of course, you remember everything bad. I mean, that's what I always
mistake. What?
Right. That's what I try to explain to everybody in my company. I'm like, everybody remembers the bad thing, and when something happens, what do? They look back at the DJ, and what us as DJs do? We look back at the wall.
Like,
what was something back there? Wait, what?
That's when you look at the technology and going, oh man, how did it do that?
Yeah. But and it's right now, it's our job to educate our clients and explain to them, like, what you might have seen, or you see those YouTube videos of the bad DJs, the dude with the boobs, and stuff like that, like that. As much as I bring my wife, she is my assistant, and that's not what you're getting. And you can't take it personal.
What if they want?
If they paid for that, that's a whole nother story.
But you're making the perfect point that I kind of want to finish up with, Shani, right there.
Good.
The education of what can be had at your event by an informed, educated DJ telling you this can happen and make it better this way, as opposed to what you've seen, where in the future, with all these things, of course, we've embraced the computer, we've embraced all of that as DJs, but embracing that future of technology, then what do we need to do to still offer a specialized event, whether it be a private party, wedding, bar, restaurant, club? What do we need to look forward to better keep ourselves employed? Because things are going to change, but we can change too, right?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's our hustle, our talent. And that's exactly what I say to everybody. Like, I think my talent's going to stand out for itself and what I'm going to bring to the table. And, you want DJ iPod, that's fine. But, DJ iPod is not me and is not personal. And when people come up and want to, talk, DJ iPod can't talk back. And, it might, but it's not going to, right, boop. It's just going to go like, boop, boop, boop.
That's what it will literally do. That's all it can do.
I should copyright the boop.
You should.
I think it's one thing that we've got to think in mind also, because you talk about, we're making these predictions of what's going to happen 10 years down the road. We got to remember it's 10 years down the road. There's 10 years of us adapting to each of those changes as we go. This isn't coming tomorrow and suddenly we're like, oh crap, we don't have a job. If you stand back and say, I'm never going to change, I'm never going to do this, I'm going to be stuck in my ways, whether it's whatever, whether it's the incremental change or whether it's the major change, it's always going to be a problem for you. I still fathom that the DJs who are, using tried and true CDs, not that it's a problem, but because there's ways to adapt and move forward. And if we don't make those adaptions, we don't continue to work on our craft, we're going to get replaced, and we should get replaced.
I agree with you, Dan. Exactly. I mean, I don't know if anybody saw the show that I did. Sunday, is that yesterday? I don't know what day it is today. I'm sorry. I've been doing corporate conferences all week. Mine was about, is the gear important? And I talked about having talent, and exactly what Dan's saying. Look, if you're not going to put the time into it, then I hope you get replaced. I want you to get replaced because you're not putting the time and the effort into it. But also, like, think about it. I mean, like we talked about this before, MJ, like Bad Boy Bill is on his tour right now, and he's doing the vinyl tour. And it's sold out and this and that, and it's old school. I mean, when the robots take over, I would love to be like, hey, don't you guys want that old school DJ Shani who brings out that old DJ equipment and she
wheels herself out on the stage.
But guess what? The old DJ equipment is either a controller or CDJs or a USB. But to them, it's old. But to me, I'm gonna put on this great show and it's going to be sold out.
Laptop. Nobody uses laptops.
A laptop.
Don't you just speak?
That's crazy.
What did you call it? The controller, what was it? A gummy? No, not a gummy controller.
Yeah, I said no. The gummy bear was when the knob. Yeah, the knob was off the fader.
I have been waiting to share this picture, Shani. Hold on.
Oh, okay. I'm excited. I don't know.
Because I found it a while back, and I said I'm going to bring this to the show. Shani,
yes.
I have found your perfect future.
Oh God, I'm
mixer.
Scared. Okay. Mixer. Oh, I'm so happy. Okay.
For this tour.
All right. Yes, for my tour, for the Shani tour.
For the tour.
Okay.
Candy. So.
The Starburst.
Starburst.
I might have to take the strawberry ones off because I'll eat them.
Yeah, those are two.
Yeah, because then when I get hungry, I might eat the strawberry ones. Oh my goodness! Look, and I love. There's a thing of Skittles there that somebody because they don't want to eat a Starburst.
Oh, funny.
So they have Skittles. But it's
I
sad.
had that mixer, I think.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's the sad part.
That's going to be my new knobs on the 7000. The first show out live. It's going to be.
I forgot the name of that company that does can change all the knobs for you, the color knobs or
There's
whatever.
several.
Well, okay, we don't need to plug anyone. We don't need to plug anybody that's not a sponsor. But anyways, if y'all want to be a sponsor, then contact John and we'll.
7000 needs some knobs. I got them on 6000. Feel free.
Instead of doing the color knobs, we'll just use gummy bears and Starburst and pencil eraser. I've used a pencil eraser.
I've seen that. I've seen
when I get to the club and there's no knob on there anymore, and I'm like,
I saw a guy in a DJ battle scratching, and all of a sudden you see this knob go whoop
and just fly across.
Went across, and he's like,
excuse me, does anybody have a Starburst?
He's like, what? He's like, there, and he goes, what do I do? And everybody's like, and he's like, all right, whatever, and that was his gig,
Oh,
so
you do what you have to do to get the show going.
And I think just like we've adapted, like Dan said, over 10 years with technology and changing and learning. Like I said, 10 years in 2002, if you would have said that I would have been spending days MIDI mapping a computer when I told you that I hated PC DJ and wanted to throw it back at the guy who made me try it. So in the future, who knows? But I think if we're open to adapt, I think both our styles of being MCs and being on the mic and choosing the music and being all of that, I think is going to be valuable. I don't think we're going away. That I wanted to kind of end on that note that we're not going away, but we do have to be open to change.
And move forward. You just have to keep moving forward, basically. And, unless you don't want to, and then that's when you get out of the game. But it's just moving forward.
In her relic tour.
Yeah, the relic tour.
Come join my tour. I need
Shaney relic tour.
DJ Shaney and friends.
Yes, that's there we go. We'll start selling tickets for that for the. Let's see, that would be the 2027 show. Oh, that's not that long ago. We'd have to go.
Just wait.
Oh, funny. Good stuff. Thank you guys for watching and being with us tonight. We will be back again next week, of course. But tomorrow night we've got Ben Stowe. We're going to be doing What's in Ben Stowe's Backpack. That go out to
wow.
The Tuesday.
He's going to pull a flux capacitor out. I know.
He is going to pull things out that I've never heard of, in the English language.
Yes, this will be an interesting show. We did his toolbox at one time, but the backpack.
Sorry, what is a basada? And they're like, Suri's going to be like, I don't know. Ask Ben Stowe.
there's your promo piece right there, MJ.
I got it, Ben. I got you, Ben. And it wasn't even in the rider.
Oh. So tomorrow night will be Ben Stowe. If you guys go to the Tuesday Night with Ben Stowe Facebook page, you'll see the image that Jimmy put together for that. It's pretty good. He's been having some fun with that. And then Brian Red and I will be back again at 10 o'clock Eastern. And then Wednesday night, did we set a time yet for Wednesday night, MJ?
No, I don't know if I did that on the flyer. I don't think so.
Okay.
We have a nice flyer. I did a nice flyer for it.
It looks great. We'll watch the channels and Facebook pages and such, and we'll get that figured out and posted and such for Wednesday.
And also, I'm just going to put this out there. I would love for all you guys to go on the DJ NTV channel or even John's personal Facebook page and just show him love for everything he did yesterday for the 92-hour show that he put. I don't know how many hours. It was like 92 hours.
It only felt like that.
I'm telling you, we really need to call Guinness Book of World Records because I think John would get an award for that.
He is the Jerry Lewis telethon of DJ information.
Seriously, for real, without the bloatedness and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
But I really want you guys, please, John does this for the community and he's going to be like, don't worry, but I'm saying do it. Please show him some love for something like that he put together. I mean, I know a lot of us had to pre-record it. Some people were live, but he definitely put together a 92-hour show for you guys to learn education and for us to have fun with it. So blow up his Facebook, please, when he goes to sleep and show him love.
All right. Thank you guys for being with tonight. We will catch you tomorrow night, Wednesday night next week. Have yourself a wonderful evening. Good night, everyone.